Hey, what's up everyone, it's your girl Brain Shanae, and today I'll be discussing A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. So if you want to know my thoughts and what I rated this book, please stay tuned. And I am back, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. So like I said before, it's pretty much, let's go ahead and discuss about A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. I will say this book is huge, and I will let y'all know right now, this was my last read of 2021, and I have a feeling like y'all already know why it was my last read, because it's like, look how thick this book is. Like, it took me a minute to get through this. I'm like, Sarah, what are you on right now? Like, why is it so big? And literally, as I was reading this book, I still couldn't figure out why this book was so big and so thick, because it really wasn't necessary. It really wasn't needed. And I'm just gonna let y'all know right now, this may be a little discussion / book review / rant, to be honest and to be real with you all. But I love the ACOTAR series. Now, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed this book. I would give it, I think I gave it like a 3.5. Or maybe I'll just give it a 4. I'll round it up to a 4. A 4 out of 5 stars for this book. The only downfall is that the book was huge for no reason. It was like it was like lagging, like nothing was happening, and the things that were happening, it really wasn't relevant. I really didn't care much for it. But as I was reading it, you know, this is the book about Cassian and Nesta after the War with Highborn. And so with this, we get into Nesta. She's doing some crazy stuff. She's sleeping with everybody. She's drinking crazy and nonstop. And so, you know, in the family, you know, if that was my sister, you'll be a little embarrassed, right? You know, so that's how Farrah was. Farrah was like, we've been trying to take care of you, we've been patient with you, but this has gone just far enough. I can't deal with you. You're being an embarrassment to not just me, but to the court itself. And Farrah was pretty much telling her how it is. You are my blood, you are my family, so you are in this court, you are of this court, and you making us all look bad. And Nesta just had the audacity to just get pissed. And you know what? If you have read the ACOTAR series, y'all already know that Nesta is a bitch half the time. And I really felt like in this book, we have come to a conclusion of why she is the way she is. And so Farrah gave her pretty much an ultimatum. She was like, you either can train with Cassian to learn how to fight, yada, 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 or you can just leave and go to the human realm. Go live amongst the humans. And Nesta, you know, she had a fit, but she took her up on that offer and went ahead on to train with Cassian. So as we all know, if you have read the ACOTAR series, Cassian has a thing for Nesta, and you know, technically that's his mate, but she doesn't look at him like that, especially not right now. Her emotions are all over the place. She really doesn't know what to do, but she's training with Cassian, and you know, she still has triggers of when her father had died in front of her, and she does eventually break down to Cassian of how the way she is, how, you know, why she's acting this way. And you know, when she hears fire crackling, she can still hear her father's neck being broken by King Highborn. So she has that trauma. And, you know, she's confessing this all to Cassian, which I do appreciate. I think she needed to talk to someone about what was going on. Because, you know, she wasn't the only one that had trauma, but she was the only one that was trying to keep it all in and not expressing herself, you know, mentally. She wasn't helping herself either mentally. And I feel like, you know, you need to take care of yourself. And maybe that was her way of taking care of herself, expressing to somebody that she felt comfortable with about what was going on in her head, how she felt guilty of her father's death and how she could have saved him. She goes back to that day when she literally, her father was right in front of her, and he had said that he loved her, and she couldn't understand and couldn't stand the fact that he loved her, because she was just miserable, was always mean, and had a terrible attitude the entire time, especially with him and her sisters, except for Elaine. I will say she was a little bit softer with Elaine. But yeah, like she has so much guilt in her heart, and I think she eventually just broke down, which eventually that's normal. People do that. That's a natural thing to break down when you just had too much and you can't take it any longer. But with her breaking down and stuff, you won't even get to that probably closer to maybe this half, maybe this half of the book, like the last parts. All this at the very beginning, it just talks about them training and stuff, and Cassian trying to give Nesta space and stuff like that, and figuring stuff out and all this. And then come to find out, Farah is pregnant, and they realize that she was in the form of Lyrian at that time, so the baby has wings. And due to that, since she can't change into a different form as an Lyrian, there has been some occasions, and mostly it's common, where the mother dies or the child dies as well. The mother and child dies. No one survives the birth. And Ryzan knows this, but he doesn't want to tell this to Farah whatsoever, because he doesn't want her to be harp on it. Because when someone's pregnant, they don't want anything bad news, because that really will affect their pregnancy altogether, because with their mood and what they're going through, it affects the baby. And that's what Ryzan was doing. But Nesta, out of all people, she just wanted to be herself and tell Farah, Farah, you're going to die. You're going to die. Everybody, nobody's going to tell you the truth, so I will tell you the truth. You're going to die. And she did that, sort of. She cared, but she said it in a disrespectful way. I'll put it to you that way. And, people got pissed, especially Ryzan got pissed. Reese, he just got pissed altogether, and he pretty much banished her, saying, get out. Get out of my court. Get out, get out, get out, get out. Obviously, you don't care about my mate, and obviously, you don't care about your sister. You never cared about her. She was the one holding y'all down, and she's the youngest out of all y'all. You didn't do nothing for your family. It was just a mess. But Cassian, went with Nesta, and, all that happened, and yada, yada, yada. And eventually we get some truth about why Nesta the way she, why she the way she is. And mostly that was due to her mother. Before her mother, left, had, died. Her mother treated Nesta a certain way and had Nesta become, try to, act a certain way of decorum, if you want to call it that. And one of the best strengths that Nesta has is dancing. And that was one thing that her mother taught her, was dancing, and how to pretty much use your beauty to get what you want. So you have that aspect, but obviously their mother, Farah, Elaine, and Nesta's mother was just a mean person, just mean, straight up mean. But they still loved her because that was their mother. But for it to be, let me tell you exact page amount that it had to be, because it was ridiculous. Let me see where that's acknowledgments. So it was a total of 751 pages of this book, which I felt like it could have been 400 pages at this point, because it didn't have to be that long. I promise you that. And I do apologize I'm just sorry for everybody that DNF'd it, because it was really good at the end, because there was happy endings, especially Nesta, confessing her love to her sisters and saving Farah as she was giving birth to her son, Nyx. And saving Ryzan, because as Farah was dying, Ryzan was dying, and Nyx was dying. She used her power that she had gotten from the cauldron and saved them. And she was professing her love for her family. And that was amazing. She finally had an epiphany of she really loves her family. And she finally knows how to express her love, because her love was, you didn't even know she loved you, how she was such terrible, nasty attitude, bratty attitude. She was just nothing but negative vibes going her way. Her aura was just a mess. So yeah, we have that. So I mean, like I said, the book did not have to be this long. I almost DNF'd it, but I'm glad that I hung in there. Also, I'm glad I hung in there to the point where Nesta finally confessed her love for Cassian. And, she didn't like the fact of them considering being mates and stuff, but, they worked that out. But even prior to her confessing her love, all she wanted from him, after they were training and stuff and they had nothing better else to do, Pretty much she used him, like, they were just having sex just to have sex. It was like, she said she didn't want any connection, she just want to have sex, and that was it. And I will let y'all know this book is very steamy. It is steamy. It's a graphic, very graphic sex scenes, steamy scenes, and I'm just like, wow. Wow. And I thought, what was the book? I think it's like the second book, A Court of Mist and Fury. I thought that was steamy. This is a lot more. This is way more steamier than that one. I'll tell y'all that right now. Like, when Sarah J Maas, when she comes with these steamy scenes, she's pretty good. She's pretty good. Like, literally, I would definitely read her if she did a whole romance steamy series in this world or whatever. I would definitely read it. You know, if it was just, you know, like romance type, just strictly romance, I would definitely read it. Because she does a fantastic job with steamy stuff. But yeah, that's how their relationship was as they were training. They would just have sex with each other, and that was it. No strings. Pretty much friends with benefits, to sum it up. But I don't know. And I'm doing this rant and this book review about this because a lot of people have asked me what my thoughts are about this book. And, you know, this book is everywhere. I believe on the Goodreads Choice Awards, it had one in the category. I forget which category. I think it had one, I think. So it has traveled through BookTube and the book community. And I will say, I think it's a mixture, but I feel like more people loved it than hated it. And I loved it. I just did not like how long it was. It was like really prolonging the action that I wanted. I'm like, okay, they're training, they're having sex, they're training, having sex, training, sex. It was like that. So I'm like, and then you have some altercations between Farrah and Nesta, or Nesta and Reese, or Nesta and Elaine. You know, like there was some sisterly fights going on where, you know, like Nesta being pissed that Elaine chooses Farrah's side and that. I'm like, girl, there are no sides. They're your sisters. They just ain't vibing with you right now because you tripping. But I really, like I said, I did not like the pace. And I completely understand why a lot of people have DNF'd this book. I hybrid read. I was listening to the audiobook as I was following along. So I feel like to read just a physical book, I probably would DNF'd it, like probably on page, let's see, to be exact, probably 200. To be honest with you, if I just read the physical copy. So like I said, I read the audiobook, I listened to the audiobook and followed along. And so my reference to you, if you don't want to go through that, probably just get the audiobook in itself. I think it'll be a lot better, you know, that way. And you know, I feel like you won't DNF the book, DNF it as fast as others possibly. So I would definitely suggest the audiobook over the physical copy. Unless you are hybrid reading, you can do both. Just to, you know, get a sense of where you're at in this huge brick of a book. But yeah, I really could say a lot more, but I'm gonna keep on ranting. And like I said, I know a lot of people that did not like this book whatsoever, and I know a lot of people that were on the fence about it, and other people that just really loved it. I'm on the, like, I'm in between. I loved it / it was annoying. Like it had a lot of annoying parts in it, and I wish it wasn't like that, but I'm also happy that I just kept on going and got through it. But I will say, after I read it, it burned me out. Like, I was done after, you know, at the end of 2021, I was like, yep, this is my last read of 2021, because I was so burned out trying to listen and read this book, because it was just a drag. But if you are a fan of the ACOTAR series, then I would go ahead, you know, keep on reading it. I mean, I started reading the ACOTAR series. Well, I read the first book in 2020, and then I started finishing up the series, or reading the rest of the books last year in 2021. So yeah, I'm caught up. I'm thinking there might be another novella or another book, maybe featuring Lucien and Elaine, trying to figure out what their relationship is, or if they're going to have a relationship or whatever, or Elaine is trying to still figure herself out on what she wants, who she wants to be or what she wants to do for the rest of her life since she's now a fae. So we have that, but I think Sarah J Maas has something up her sleeve for this ACOTAR series. I don't believe that this is the final book. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Let me know down below in the comments if you know anything that I don't know when it comes to the ACOTAR series. If Sarah has some more books for us when it comes to Farah, Elaine, and Nesta, and if there's gonna be continuum of trying to figure out more about Lucian and Elaine. But yeah. I don't know. Like, there was really moments where I was just about to give up reading this book because I'm like, okay, this is really boring. All right, let me do something productive as I'm listening. Maybe that'll keep me going. And literally that was the thing. Like, I was working out, cleaning, just stuff to keep me active as I'm reading, because literally if I just sat down and just listened and read this book, I would have fell asleep. I would have fallen asleep. I'm just being completely honest with you guys. I would have fallen asleep and I would be like, where did I leave off? Like, yeah, that's how bad it would have been. But I'm glad that I did something a little bit differently just so I can get through this book and also give you my honest review and opinion about this book altogether. But like I said, if you do love the ACOTAR series, I would suggest just go ahead and continue on reading. I mean, like, if you're really in love with it, you'll read this book regardless if it's long or not. Let's just be honest. But like I said, I'm glad that I finished this book. I finally get to know the softer side of Nesta and how she's coming along with herself being a fae and her being with Cassian, and they finally make this a ritual of them with the ceremony of them being mates. And she even mentions about, maybe one day we'll have kids, and Cassian was just so excited. So yeah, I will continue on reading this, but Sarah, please, no more bricks. But even if there are more bricks, I probably will still end up reading them. So it is what it is. But that is it, you guys. That is my little rant, book review, and venting session for you all. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really just felt like this would be a great time to do that because this book had me going through all different types of emotions. But like I said, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Also hit that subscribe button, that bell to be notified when I upload more videos in the future. But thank you so much for watching, you guys, and please stay healthy and stay safe. See ya.